This is the Millerods SwimFreak POWER. The design concept behind this one's an interesting one. I already had the BeastFreak in the range as one of the first swim bait rods that I designed, and that one actually came from America, from what I'd done over there. And I also had a rod in the US called the SwimFreak. The SwimFreak's a bass rod, so it doesn't have a huge amount of power, especially down in the bottom half where we tend to need it for our larger predatory fish. And I was fishing actually with Carl one night for cod, and I was using this little finesse soft plastic swim bait. And the rods I had were either too powerful or not really powerful enough, and that's where the seed was planted to come up with the SwimFreak POWER. So I basically took that American design, super smooth, super easy casting, light in the hand, very, very popular swim bait rod over there, soft swim bait rod over there, and I put more power into it so it would be suitable for our cod and barra angling. And it's become one of my favourite rods. I always love to have it on the deck if I'm cod fishing, because a lot of the time, and it's only going to become more and more like this, the finesse approach is what's really going to work, and that often means a soft swim bait, just slow rolled near the bottom, very similar to how we fish for barra, what Slick Rig's made popular. And now we're using slightly larger soft baits in the swim bait style for barra. And this is the rod that does it really, really well. It's 7'8", so it'll give you a nice long cast without being over the top long. You just don't need it with the finesse approach. Super balanced, as I said, which not only makes it really easy to use for a long session, but it also makes it super sensitive, so you can feel often the barra just taking that little nip bite of your swim bait. You'll feel it and be able to react quickly before they spit it out, and you also know that your lure's working well. You can feel it ticking over the top of a weed bed, for instance, so it'll help you keep the lure in the zone. When we look at the components that I put on it, I basically kept it very similar to the American design. It didn't need much work. We've got ergonomically shaped custom EVAs. We've got the SwimFreak skeleton reel seat with the Fuji parts. One of the big changes I did make was that the handle is detachable. It just makes it a little bit easier for us to use here. And I also changed the guide train over from the single foot guides, which are popular in the US. They mainly use fluorocarbon over there, to the Fuji KW frame, the double foot frame. So it's just a little bit tougher, because we're going to be fishing heavier lines and heavier drags on these rods. Now the guides aren't micro, they are fairly small, but they're not micro, so you can fish your braid and leader combinations on this. Just as I always say, make sure you're using an FG knot for your best, smoothest operation. And talking about smooth operation, I love to put lots of guides on these bait cast rods just to increase the feedback from the lure, and also to keep the line flow smooth, whether that's going out of the rod during a cast or whether it's coming back through the rod when you're retrieving or fighting a fish. So this is a 7'8" rod, and it's got 12 guides and a tip top, plenty of guides, and regardless what you're doing, that line is going to be moving nice and smoothly in and out of the rod. It's also got our custom Millerods hook keeper, which will take all the big lures, and it's tangle free, it's out of the way, but it is exactly where you need it. So that's the SwimFreak POWER. If you want to check out more of the story and see all the specs, you can go to our website. If you want to see it in the flesh, you can check our retail partners for the one that's closest to you, and all the information you'll need is there. That's millerods.com.au for the SwimFreak POWER.